Welcome to the Queer Love Podcast, the silly and serious shenanigans of two queer relationship coaches. I am your host, Elizabeth Cunningham.
And I'm your host, Lee Greeps.
On this podcast, we talk about how to live your best queer life with fulfilling, healthy relationships and anything else that makes your little queer heart happy. Because living your life outside of the heteronormative scripts is totally possible for you.
Each episode, we explore all things queer love from our professional perspective as relationship coaches, our own personal experiences, and as partners.
If you love our show, follow us on TikTok, Instagram, or Twitter at Queer Love Relationships. You can also check out our website, www.queerloverelationships.com.
Thanks for following us and enjoy this episode.
Welcome to the Queer Love Podcast.
Woo, 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 woo.
I really want you to just go for it. Just let it rip, you know?
That's not gonna happen.
Every time, it's what I want.
Oh, I just told you. I gave you the spoiler.
Manage my expectations. Which is something that we're going to be talking about today. Look at that.
That was a demonstration.
It was.
See how I held to my boundaries? You too can do this. For the low price of $19.99 plus $3.95 shipping and handling. All the 90s kids remember.
Oh, man, it's so good. All the infomercials. I never thought I'd miss infomercials.
Man. I was always entertained by them. I loved them. I was just like, oh my gosh, let's call this number on the screen.
Let's see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. All right, what are we talking about today?
90s infomercials.
How quickly I forget.
Nostalgia. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the long game in relationships. Playing the long game. Particularly playing the long game. Not just the long game, but how to play.
Yes.
The guidebook, which you can purchase for. The low price.
I wonder how many times during this episode we could turn whatever we're saying into some sort of infomercial.
Don't open the gates to that kind of game. Yeah. But yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah. Specifically, because I think there's a lot of things that go into the long game, playing the long game in relationships. What?
What is the long game?
What is the long game? What is it?
How do you expect people to buy the book if they even know what the long game is?
People are going to actually think we have a book. They're going to be like, where's this book?
You know what? You put the money in my hand, I'll make a book.
Oh, me too.
What is the long game?
The long game is, well, one of the things we were talking about before we hit record was the long game in challenges and the long game in conflict. Mm-hmm. And you know, what we were talking about could apply to just relationships broadly, which is why we said relationships.
These chapters. Mm-hmm. These subsections.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So the long game in challenges, long game in conflict, and then we were talking specifically about the not great side of being too trusting, and how to be more practical. Mm-hmm. And manage expectations and discern. Yeah, discernment.
Discernment. Patience.
Patience
is a virtue.
That's right. So all of those things, that smorgasbord is what we're going to be talking about today.
Love it. I'm on board.
You're always on board.
Oh, you gotta keep me in. You gotta use them fancy words.
Like discernment?
Yep. It's a fancy word.
It's a good word. I like the word discernment, actually.
It's one of those words that I'm like, how many people would misspell that, you know?
That's true. Can you spell
That's
discernment?
what makes words fancy to me, is where I'm like...
That people would misspell them?
Yeah. I mean, especially in, my other coaching work, where it's like a lot text-based.
Yeah.
There's lots of words where I'm like, wow, that's a creative way to spell that. Like, I know what you're saying.
Oh,
and
man.
so I'm like, discernment would be one of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I still look up. I always loved knowing how to spell words when I was a little kid. And I will still look up words specifically because I'm like, oh, I don't know how to spell that, so I need to see it written out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. It's good.
It also helps me remember things. If I know how to spell something, it helps me remember it.
Yeah.
Like sometimes if I want to remember people's names, I'll ask them to spell their name.
Try it out, kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Long game. Challenges. Conflict. Trust. Discernment. Patience.
I don't know what's happening.
I'm building the anticipation so they buy the thing for $19.99 plus $3.95 shipping and handling.
All right.
You got to build it up, you know?
Build it up.
Well, one of the first things that we were talking about was, kind of when trust comes to bite you in the butt a little bit, or that you are being too positive about something, like overly positive about something, positivity without warrant. Or like a phrase around that would be like being Pollyanna, if you've ever heard that phrase, which is just like unwarranted positivity or only looking at the positive side of things and not having that balance. Toxic positivity.
Everyone loves the word toxic.
Everyone loves the word toxic these days. It's
my favorite is when
toxic
the,
words.
Yeah, when I hear like gym bros talk about toxic things, I'm like, what? It sounds so funny to me.
It's like, how interesting.
Like, look at y'all talking about toxic work environments, toxic relationships.
All right. Next step is therapy. So.
Well, that's what they're giving to each other at the gym.
But you were talking about toxic positivity. Because I think we have very differing views. This is something that we experience. I don't know if we have differing views so much as we have very different experiences of like
give me some examples
being
here.
Overly trusting or like being too positive. Because I definitely you sent me the Rich Roll podcast with Ellen Langer, the Ellen Langer interview or whatever, and she talked about like the balance that you have to have in being a trusting person, but that part of being a trusting person is kind of just accepting that you're gonna get burned sometimes.
Yeah, like the gullible side.
Yeah, like the being trusting and like the shadow side of being trusting is being gullible, and she was like, I would rather give out my trust more freely because that's the person that I choose to be. Like, that's the person that I want to be.
Right.
And
accepting the consequences.
And accepting the consequences of that. And I very much align with that. I'm like, yeah, I would rather be someone who is more trusting. Like, I would rather live my life that way and get burned sometimes than to, like, be super guarded, you know? And not to say that I'm not guarded. There's definitely areas where I'm guarded for sure. But like I do lean into trust and like have that be an uncomfortable growth edge for myself because that's what I want, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I think it reminds me of I was like seeing a dorm room in college where I was having this conversation with a friend in college But we were talking about like the thing of like, oh, do you just trust people, or do you have like they have to earn your trust, like kind of thing. And like I remember talking about that where it's like, because it's like it does tend to be like that thing like where people like just willingly give their trust to someone versus someone else who's like, no, you're gonna earn my trust, you know, like I'm gonna give you a little bit like to be able to have a, you know, something to build off of, but like it's like you really have to ramp up into trust, you know, which is, you know, I guess would be in the more guarded kind of camp, right? Where it's like you slowly open the door, right? Whereas someone's like, there is no door. What are you talking about? Come on in. And I mean, obviously there's different factors that contribute to that. But, you know, and obviously, you know, it's like the pros and the cons of that too.
Yeah. Well, I think part of it, like I like the door analogy, so I'm gonna run with that.
Go for it. The door analogy can be yours for. I am winning this game.
You are winning this game. I'm here for you to. I'm rooting for you.
Thank you.
Oh my god, it is gonna throw me off when you do that though. It's gonna be. I know I'm here for it. Please don't stop. But
no, I know it'll throw you off, but I felt like that was a good place to.
No, that was really good. That was really good. Okay, door analogy. And like, yeah, I think that there's a difference between like people who always open their door no matter what. There's people who like, when someone knocks at the door, you know, you open it a little bit and you're like, hey, like, what's up? Like, why are you here? You know, whatever. Or, you know, you say things that aren't rude like that, but, or maybe you do. Like, maybe that's the next step. You're just.
Well, I'm about it. You can question them. What are they doing at your door?
Dude, well, in the world that we live in right now, I'm just like, why the fuck are you knocking? Whenever people ring the doorbell, I'm like, and I'm not expecting someone to come over. I'm like, why are you?
That's always. I'm like, unless someone sent me a message, no one should be knocking at this door.
See, and again, we differ very much.
No, for sure. I was like, I could know you out there, but you didn't say nothing.
Oh my god, that is so. Again, like I feel like this is a good analogy. This is a solid analogy. I'm loving this analogy more and more.
There you go.
All right.
I should have upped the prices.
3 payments of $19.99.
Exactly what it was.
Oh man. Yeah. So, opening the door. Anyways, the point being is that there's like this spectrum of people who just like always open the door, and there's some people on the other side of the spectrum who never open the door no matter what, right? And so I think what we're kind of talking about is like this balance in the middle of how much are you willing to open up the door inside of trust, and how much are you saying that someone needs to quote unquote prove that they are trustworthy? And I think I don't think that there's like a right answer to that question.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we have our own opinions about that, but that's also based off of our own experiences and etc. And I don't disagree with people needing to prove that they're trustworthy. I'm even thinking of, you know, relationships I have right now that are really great that didn't start off with a great amount of trust. And also relationships where I have given a lot of trust up front, and then that trust has like, you know, slowly diminished over time. And that's on both sides. Like that's, you know, on their side and on my side as well.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, but I think when we're talking about like playing the long game in relationships, I think what's really important is that choice factor, like that you are choosing to do this, and also that you're willing to accept the consequences. So like what I said earlier, where it's just like, I'm choosing to be more trusting, but I'm also willing to accept the consequences of like that might not go well for me. And I think that that's inside of, again, we're differentiating between like being overly positive or like that toxic positivity. So like toxic positivity is like, that you're willing to give your trust and you have an expectation that it's going to go well. Like you're like, no, I'm going to give my trust and everything's going to go well and no one's ever going to say anything that makes me upset and no one's ever going to betray me. And like, this is the only, you were talking about before we hopped on was like blinders. Yeah. Like you have those like blinders on of like, nope, like now we're on this road and everything's going to go well and it's never going to go poorly. Yeah.
Lack of discernment.
Well,
yeah. I mean, because if you go with the thing of like, this is what I am choosing, hopefully to some extent, in making choices, especially like, meaningful ones in relationships, in the context of relationships, it's like you are taking that time to like, to consider, what does this choice entail, right? Like what can I gain? What can I quote unquote lose? Like what's the hurtful? What's the nice thing, whatever it is. And so in that you are practicing discernment. And so then you're going, yeah, like I am choosing to trust this to this extent, recognizing, yeah, there might be some consequences to that. That would be in that practice of discernment versus being like, of course I trust this person because I love them. And we just started dating 2 days ago.
We've been dating for 3 months and I know everything about them and I know that like, they would never hurt me.
It's just everything's so easy with them,
everything's so easy. That's right.
And I get it, that's go listen to all our episodes on new relationship energy. But the thing that will wipe clean discernment. I feel like imagine NRE is like a spray that we could sell.
That's 5 payments though. That's NRE is 5. You can be yours.
Look at that. Wipe away all discernment. Leaving behind just solely positivity.
Only positivity.
I think, and that's the thing too. I think, with like toxic positivity, it's like you can also just think about it as like, I mean, I see it as like the ungrounded kind of positivity, right? Like where it's not rooted in something. It is just like floating around, whizzing around. And so it's, something that like when you are grounding into like more practicality and stuff, because it's like, if you think about, okay, if I'm, just started to get to know someone or you've been dating for a few months, whatever it is, but it's like, is there ground to like lay my trust in here and to this extent, or is it, is that maybe a little bit more dangerous to like myself or to this relationship as a whole too, right? Because it's like you're trying to build something in that way in the long game, you know? And having patience for that. And so it is just like that whole kind of art to it.
Yeah. Well, because the other part here is that no one can tell the future. You know, and I think that's unless you call in the next 20 minutes.
Exactly. Winning.
Then you too can tell the future in your relationship.
Limited
supply. Only 5 available for the low price of $50,000. But think of what you could do.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
We were made for this. We're in the wrong. We're in the wrong genre.
Yeah. I'm here for this.
Oh my god, we did get a side quest. Hold on, real quick. Side quest, side tangent. We did get an email from a marketing person that was like, like when you start a podcast, or if you start a podcast or like a YouTube channel, or really anytime you start anything on social media, then people will start reaching out to you being like, if you pay me, I'll help you.
Yeah.
And like not knocking those people at all. It's just like, that was like a totally neutral thing to say, like not good or bad. Like it's just when you start something, people are like, hey, I have a service that I provide for you. Like, the same thing when you move into a house, right? Like, people are like, hey, I can paint your house or whatever.
Yeah.
So anyways, so we gotta, but sometimes the messages that they send are like kind of cuckoo bananas. And this one person sent us an email and was like, I love your comedy podcast. And I was like, you copied and pasted that to the wrong person, didn't you? Like,
I don't know. They could have been talking.
I mean, maybe they were. Maybe they like.
We don't take none of your so serious.
We don't take
talk
none
about this healthy queer relationship.
That's hilarious. Hilarious. We think you're so funny, and we would love to. We would love for you to pay us to help promote your comedy podcast.
Like, well, see, the thing is, we're so good at comedy. Joke's on you.
Oh my
there you
god.
Go. Side quest.
Side quest complete.
Great. So no one can tell the future.
So no one can tell the future in your relationship, which is why I think one of the really important things is to like come from that place of choice and that place of agency and your own autonomy, so that when you, as you do go along, and it's not like, you know, you can come back to be like, well, I chose this, not to like beat yourself up about it, but like, I chose this, I can also choose something different as well. Like, as you gather more information, you can make different choices. And that's also part of discernment. And I think that that's also like why, you know, we wanted to talk about this as like the long game, because this is not just like, oh, you make a choice now, good for you, everything's fixed. That would also be in the toxic positivity category.
Magical choices.
Magical choices.
Also something else.
There you go. That's in the next 5 minutes, though. You know, fortune telling in the next 20 minutes.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Magic in the next 5 minutes.
We are QVC right now. I feel like if anyone's watched like QVC or HSN, and if it's especially like the chefs and stuff when they're selling stuff, literally everything that they're using is on sale. They're like, oh my god, look at this spoon I just used is also on sale as I cook it in this pan, and oh my gosh, I make my own beef now too. And then it's like, and here's my salt grinder. I'm like, what do you not sell on this set? Like, you're gonna sell yourself next, I bet. Like,
for the low price of $100,000, I will come to your house and be your personal chef for a week.
There would definitely be an old lady paying that. QVC. Oh my gosh, so good.
People do drop that kind of money on that stuff, though.
Oh yeah.
Also, that's wild.
Go for it, people.
Yeah. Also, if anybody has that kind of money and is listening to this podcast and wants...
I'm a really good cook, so you should pay for me.
Yeah, Lee is an amazing cook. We're both amazing relationship coaches.
Also fantastic comedians.
Also sought after comedians.
Entertain your dinner party while also cooking the dinner.
And then lead a group therapy session afterwards.
Dang.
Nailed it.
100,000. We'll
Easy.
take 5 installments.
Is anyone getting any value out of this podcast? We keep doing this. If anything, they're entertained, you know? Maybe we are turning into a comedy podcast. What? It was actually that person who emailed me could see the future.
Damn it, we need to contact them.
Be like, oh, actually, our bad. We didn't realize that you were our fortune tellers.
Be like buying from our competition, you know. Oh god. There's value here.
Okay, what were we talking about? Help me. Too many side quests.
Can't tell the future.
Can't tell the future. Oh man.
You can change choices, like in the long game.
You can't tell the future, but in the long game, in the long game, you can always make different choices as you go, and I think that that's like that's definitely an easier said than done thing. You know, like, it's hard. It's easy to be like, you can change your mind as you go. But in practice, that's really challenging, because, especially in relationships, because it's not just you that these decisions are impacting, but it's also other people. And like, excuse me, depending on how long you've been with someone, or how enmeshed you've been with someone, or whatever the circumstances may be, that the changing your mind can be really abrupt and challenging, which, again, like, talking about the long game in just in relationships in general, is that, can the relationship move with those different changes, you know, over time as well. And so it all ties in, like, with conflict, challenges, and just relationships.
Those words we said at the start.
So many good words were said at the beginning.
Oh, goodness. But I mean, the other thing too, in the, you know, that we were kind of talking about prior to this, like prior to hitting record, was, you know, especially in, let's say you're in a, you know, challenging phase, challenging chapter, like in a relationship where there's conflict, or there's just things to address that is not going to be overnight, you know. And so it is like you are playing the long game in that sense, right? And in that, where in the practice of discernment, like
excuse me. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Many blessings.
Thank you.
But yeah, in the practice of like the discernment in a situation like that, because it can often, you know, especially if you're like feeling really weighed down in a challenge, and there's something that does feel really like positive, or something that's very like, it is that shininess, where it's like, but is it like, are there practical steps around it? Is there practicality around it in general? Because that can then lead into, you know, maybe you are, you know, overextending yourself. You're going, you know, you're kind of letting go of certain needs or certain boundaries, maybe, that you're just like, well, yeah, but then I get the shiny. And then that can lead into, you know, more challenges and stuff. But it's like, that would be like an example where you're going for like that instant hit, instead of like seeing the long game going on, right? Where you're trying to get the short-term gain of like, oh, give me this good thing, and then it like burns you pretty quickly, right?
Yeah.
And so being able to see like that, you know, longer term, what you want for this relationship, you know, what you want in the context of this relationship, is that actually a practical choice? Is that, you know, a choice that's going to actually serve that longer vision? Which is really hard, especially in, you know, in a challenge, because it's like, you're like, oh man, but that's so nice, I want it right now. And also, I mean, I feel like there's just, in general, in society, there's just such a lack of patience. You know, it's like everyone like orders the thing online. They're like, where is it at now?
Yeah.
It should be in my hand. Or just like that, you know, but like that kind of, you know, if you look at the overarching like effect it's had in society, in, you know, in silly ways like shipping or whatever, but like also just the wait times of things like that then drips into your relationships, and like how, you know, everyone's already kind of challenged with conflict in general, you know, for their own reasons, but then you add into the factors of like how people are we're just so used to not waiting that long for things. I mean, it's like you can instantly look up something, you can instantly message someone, you can instantly whatever. It's just like bam, bam, bam. And if a conflict is like not going to go bam, 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 you're like, I'm not going to sit with this for whatever months. You know, and it's like, not to say that maybe that's not the best choice for you, but it's like you're just going off of, well, I don't want to wait for that. I like it, just like that challenge of the patience.
Yeah.
I sound like such an old person. These youngins these days don't know how to be
patient. Yes, yeah. As the person born in 1993.
And you know, to some people, I am old.
That is true. That's wild.
Old and wise. Listen to me, little one.
Yeah, and I think everything has a balance here, and that was the other word that like kind of we kept like bringing up before was like everything has a balance, because you don't want to be like so patient that you are overextending your own boundaries, or being in situations that are not good for your mental or emotional health, or being in situations where like there isn't improvement being made, right? But you're like, well, I just
because that's when you need to practice discernment,
right? Because that's when you need to, because that's when you need to practice discernment, exactly. Because it's just like maybe you have been in a situation that's really stressful for the past like 4 months, 6 months. But how are you measuring the progress of that? Like, has it progressed? Have people said, done what they said they were going to do, or are they working on it to the best of their ability, right? Like to the length of their capacity, right? And not saying that like again, everything has discernment. So when I say best of their ability or length of their capacity, that doesn't mean that like I think everyone should be going 100% of the time. That's why it's best of your ability to your capacity. Sometimes your capacity on a day-to-day basis is only like 10 out of 100, 20 out of 100, And so it's just like...
But then if you do that, then it's 100%.
But if you do that, then that's your 100%, right? But again, just like being able to weigh all of these different factors in your relationship. And I also think being able to speak to that as well. Like you can't do relationships by yourself. And so being able to say, something to the effect of like, this has been really hard for me, or this is challenging for me, or like, I see you working on all of this and I'm happy about that. And I'm struggling as well. Or like saying what you need, or saying what your boundaries are, or even just like reigniting that you're on a team together. Like just being like, hey, like we are still on this. Yeah, I know that this has been challenging, but we are still on the same team. I still want to be here. I'm still here for you, and being there for yourself as well. And inside of the long game, discernment, all of that, patience, is also getting the support that you need as well. And not, whether that be on friends, therapist, coach, community, support groups, activities, hobbies, things that you do that are supportive outside of your relationship is also going to help with the long game too. Because if you're struggling in your relationship, but then you let other areas of your life kind of go by the wayside, like you neglect friendships, or you neglect your physical health, like you stop working out or something like that, then that's only going to make your experience of life harder. And then that's going to add to whatever you're facing in the relationship too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think also just in the sense of, practicing the discernment within those, like if you're working on a challenge, in a relationship and everything, is like, coming back to like the power of choice and like, choosing different things, choosing again, all of that. Because I definitely see that with clients, and I'm sure you do all the time as well, where it's, maybe it's like a long-term relationship, and, you set up a plan to like work on, you're doing this, I'm doing this, we're doing this to work on whatever it is. And, maybe you go into it with that, there is like that idealized like expectations that like this will solve all, right? and it's like, and it's like, yeah, I get, the hopefulness of it, and, getting too attached to that can then lead to maybe you overextending, the patience that you have of something, or that the other person has of something, where it's just like, yeah, that was a good plan, but it's actually, it's maybe it truly is just not going at a pace that is of service to you or the other or everyone involved. And it's like, yeah, maybe there is that progress being made, and and so it's like, yeah, but there it's kind of comes to that point where it's like there is that practice of discernment where it's like, is it best to keep going in this direction, or should we change, or should we stop, or, you know, like all those like very tough moments in relationships. You know, and that is hard, obviously, to be discerning in that way, because it is putting you in that face of the choice. You know, and just recognizing, because I think I always hear that a lot from like clients in those kinds of positions where they feel the guilt that comes, where they're like, yeah, like, you know, maybe their partner is making progress around something that was being asked, you know, in the context of their relationship, but they're like, it's, you know, not necessarily that it's not enough, but it's just like, it's not actually what they need, or maybe it just doesn't like match in the way that they had anticipated, you know, at the start of working on whatever it is. And so then they come with that guilt of like, oh man, like this is really hard, because then it's like, you know, they feel like they're not, I guess, honoring the positivity of the relationship and everything like that.
Or like the hope of it.
Yeah, or the hope, because I think that's the thing. It's like people feel weird if they're like, I'm stamping out the hope. You know,
or
like,
people don't want to give up.
Yeah,
you know?
like, I mean, like there is like, there's so many different factors that can be at play in this. And it's like, it comes back to, again, like being in that space for yourself of, yeah, what is actually needed, you know, for my overall well-being, and you know, looking at that in that sense, which is really hard to do when there's all that going on. So it's like, you know, just thinking about like what you were saying, like, yeah, it sounds so simple on the outside, but it's like, yeah, but in practice, it's like you're dealing with all these tough emotions, you're dealing with conflict, you're dealing with, you know, hurt, or, you know, trust challenges, all that kind of stuff. And so like when you put that all in together in practice, it gets like a lot harder to be like, well, yeah, I could choose again, but then I feel like a dick because I'm choosing to stop because you know, it didn't work, right? And it's like, oh, and the other person is like, what? No, like da 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 da, and it's like, yeah, actually no, you know. So it's like being able to honor all of that. It's just really hard.
Yeah. So, looking at this from a practical point of view. I'm just thinking of, like looking at this from a practical point of view, I'm just thinking like, what can you do? Like, how can you start practicing discernment for yourself? And also, before I even ask that question, is like, I don't think that discernment is always around like a challenging thing. Like we're talking about it in the context of like challenges or conflicts in a relationship. But discernment can also be around your finances, can also be around your job, can also be around like your hobbies, like your time, you know, like there's so many areas of life that you can practice discernment, and that it is kind of a neutral thing to practice and a skill to have. And so I also don't want to paint it like, you know, having discernment is like this grave thing. So like, so like a practical things for discernment. I think one practical thing is looking at all the possibilities of a situation so that you have an idea of what you could be choosing or not choosing. That's one way to practice discernment. I also think practicing...
How do you practice discernment?
How do I practice discernment?
Yeah, tell them your secrets.
Yeah, because I totally have it all figured out, for sure. I have, you know, all the answers.
I mean, we all see the pedestal that you are standing upon. Oh my God. Everyone would pay money for that look. That one was free, guys.
We actually do have our podcast up on
free for you.
Up on YouTube now. We've been talking about it forever, and it's there Anyways.
How do you practice discernment?
How do you practice
wow.
discernment?
Oh my God.
That's right.
Turning it around on people, that's what I do.
What actually, okay, but for real, what I was going to say was that you can use your values and like who you want to be, right? Like, so a value that you could come from is integrity. And like, you know, what integrity means to me is doing what you said that you were going to do, or like that your words align with your actions, or that you are in communication about that. Like if you know, again, I don't think that it's out of integrity to break a promise if you are in communication about that you need to break a promise, right? And readjusting that, right? So like integrity could be a value.
Mine was like, but not a pinky promise.
Or a pata promise.
Don't you dare break a pinky promise, you animal.
Oh my God. You'll have a very angry lesbian after you.
That's right. I know the sacred code.
But yeah, using your values, like, are you living in alignment with your values? And what do your values mean to you? And if you were living in alignment with your values, then what would that look like or feel like? And that's also a way to create your agreements or expectations, or again, just being in communication about those things and not assuming that, you know, your partner is on the same page as you. Just like really checking that out. That would be one way to be discerning.
Is that how you practice discernment? You're not telling us your secrets.
That is how I practice discernment.
Okay, great.
That is one way.
Sure that the people get what I promised them.
Oh my God.
What I pinky promised them.
That's right. You're acting in integrity, and I appreciate that about you. What's one way you practice discernment?
They didn't buy my secrets. I mean, I usually start off with just like the instant feeling I get around something. Like where I'm like, let's see, what's an example? I just, I mean, well, since we were talking about, you know, relationship things, let's just talk about that. But like, you know, if there's a challenge or something that's like a big choice, like you know, not going with only just challenges and all that kind of stuff, but like something that's like, oh, like I just go with like, oh, what's the instant thing that comes up for me, and then I start from there to kind of like think about like, well, that choice, like, how does that, you know, is that kind of coming from more of you know, fear-based, or like a pattern that I'm trying to change, or is that very like, oh, that's very love and free and all that kind of stuff. But I, you know, and then I think that's where it gets, I mean, that's where it can get a little bit challenging, you know, the deeper you get into it, because it's like, I could see like that instant choice being like, there's some tie into like maybe a past pattern, but there's also a tie into like, you know, who I would like to be, you know, more moving forward. And so then you kind of have to tease that apart, right? And that's you practicing discernment. But that's how I usually start with, where I'm like, oh, what is that? You know? And then I look at the, you know, especially with relationships, it's like, what's the growth edge of something? And, you know, knowing, it's like the, one of the therapists I follow, like she talks a lot about like, is the lesson in the, or is the, you know, the growth in the staying, or is the growth in the going, right? Like, you know, especially in like those in the context of like a relationship challenges where you're like, should I stay in this or should I go? Right. And it's like, we usually have a tendency to like, I always book it. And that could just even be in the context of like conflict in general, where you're like, there's conflict, I am avoiding it at all costs, right? Like not necessarily leaving the relationship. Or being like, you're overextending, like where you have like so much patience that you stay in things that are actually like harming you, right? And so it's like, is the growth in the coming or the going, and like kind of like teasing that apart too, and being like, okay, yeah, like I usually leave, so maybe I should stay a little bit longer in this for like my growth, but is that also of service to me? Like, is that actually, I'm not just doing that to be like, see, I can do it, So it's like you start to practice like all these different little things and recognizing like, okay, maybe I choose to stay in this, and actually that did not work, so I'm going to choose to leave now. Right. And so, but you're doing it in a way of a lot more of that, like, in the way of choice, in the way of like more of that autonomy and like conscious effort versus just like, woo, going around with everything. So that's kind of like where I dabble in.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's different with different people and different circumstances. And so being able to, use your past as a guidance post, but also to recognize that you're not in your past.
Yeah, I mean, just recognize, it's the past, but it's just like, oh, was that there, little friend?
Yeah, totally. Which is, and I think, the other thing I want to say about discernment as well is that in being discerning, you have to be able to hold multiple truths at the same time. I think that that's one of the reasons why discernment is challenging, is because you do have to hold multiple things that are true. Yeah. Like what I just said, which is like, well, in the past, this is like not gone really well, but this is also not the same person. This is not the same circumstance. And maybe so is this a growth edge right now instead of a lesson that I've already learned, right? And I also think that you can take your time in creating that discernment for yourself. Like if you don't like have an immediate answer, that's also okay too. But then being able to do what you need to or do what you can to discover that answer for yourself. And and maybe that's,
give yourself time.
Yeah, give yourself time. Journaling, meditating, if you're someone who prays and that works for you. If you have a therapist or a coach or a support system or friends that are like as unbiased as possible, have your best interest at heart.
It's like you can definitely tell the difference. Like the friends that instantly start trash talking the person not unbiased.
I am not always an unbiased friend. I'm as an unbiased as a coach as I can possibly muster with every single ounce of my body, but as a friend I'm not fully unbiased.
Well, there you go. I'm pretty unbiased friend.
You're a pretty unbiased friend.
Yeah, that's pretty unbiased.
Yeah, for sure. No, I will definitely just say my opinion.
That is true.
That's a look that I would pay for.
Which is very true. But it is. I mean, use discernment in what friends you talk to about things, because there's definitely been friends where I'm like, I'm not talking to you about none of this because you are so biased. Which I am fortunate that I have like friends that are usually pretty unbiased. Yeah.
I can be unbiased if people ask me to be. Yeah. Like if people are like, hey, I really want your unbiased opinion, like I will absolutely provide that. But I'm generally as a coach, very unbiased. As a friend, not super crazy unbiased.
Yeah.
It's all good. Anything else that you want to say about playing the long game in relationships as it comes to everything we talked about? Well, I guess we could recap what we talked about.
Well, we have a few products on sale right now.
That's right. Some of them, some of you grabbed. Thank you for that. $50,000 for the fortune teller.
Yep.
Yeah, appreciate you.
Oh man. I mean, I think I don't know, this isn't necessarily a recap, but I think just the point of emphasizing, because I think, especially when it comes to choices that feel like impactful in the context of relationships, people like freak out and be like, I must make this choice now. And, you know, and one thing like that I, you know, will share with clients is particularly when they're talking about, should I stay or should I go in a relationship? But this can apply to any other kind of challenge in a relationship too. But it's like, you know, that's where I do, you know, my little thing with the hat.
Yeah.
Where it's you know, where I'm like, oh, if I had, you know, these choices in the hat and I was going to, like, they're like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, if I'm pulling out a choice, like, what are you hoping I pull out? Right. And
such a good question.
And then it's like that will give you some indication, right? Yeah. And it's like, if it's like, oh, well, yeah, that's what I would hope for right now. Okay. Like, you can sit with that, you can be with that, and just like letting yourself kind of be in the space of like that choice. Or even just in, you know, what we talked about where people are like, oh yeah, like I'm going to stay for now in this relationship or whatever. And it's like, okay, cool. Rest in that choice. Like, you are choosing right now, right? Like and it's like, you're not choosing something, you are choosing something because you're there. And so it's like, it's okay. And knowing that you can choose something different. You could wake up tomorrow and be like, actually, out skis, I'm choosing to go. And so like, you can, you know, you can take your time, you can be with different choices, and then also resting in the fact that you are choosing something right now. So it's not like you can't make a decision or anything around that. Like, you're just letting yourself take the time, especially in these challenges or deeper challenges where you're talking to unbiased friends, or you're talking to therapists, or you're journaling, or whatever you're doing to like sort this out. It's like, it's okay for it to take time, and you're not doing anything that's like deceptive to people or being like, but then I changed my mind. It's like, that's okay. You're allowed to do that. So I think it's just like really making that okay, because I think, you know, guilt and shame and all that kind of stuff can come into play if you're like navigating a choice, and just being like, no, it's okay. You know, people can always choose different. And that is what makes relationships so fun and so hurtful at the same time.
Well, and in talking about like, choosing, like that's also what you choose when you enter a relationship. It's like, yeah, like this is awesome and it's going to be really fun and I really love this person. Like, there's a reason why you want to be in a relationship with this person, and you're opening yourself up to being hurt as well. And
this is why a lot of people, like, you know, where they're like, I don't want to be getting in sort of love situations, because it's like, you know, that if you let yourself love, you're also letting yourself be open to pain, right? And so it's like pain and loss, but it's like, well, that's where you're choosing what's worth it for you.
Yeah, exactly. I hope that you choose love.
You choose you, boo. Do whatever works.
Yeah.
Either way, it's all good.
I hope you live your life, you know?
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, just live your life. I hope you find peace with your choices.
There you go. Yeah. One of the questions that I ask, because I really like your hat question. One of the questions that I ask is like, imagine yourself, 5 years, 10 years, 30 years from now. What is that version of you really glad that you did? So,
different ways.
There you go. Different perspectives. All right, love. Anything else that you want to share?
No, that's it.
Okay, well, we love you so much. Happy discerning.
Call the number on your screen. Love you. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Queer Love Podcast. We would love to hear from you. Drop us a line on TikTok, Instagram, or Twitter at Queer Love Relationships, or email us at queerloverelationships@gmail.com.
If you are interested in working with us, follow the Linktree link in the show notes. See if our offers resonate with you, and if they do, Sign up with us or book a discovery session.
We are so grateful that you're here, listening, learning, and growing with us.
Until next time, keep loving.